start searching. Hi, this is One Man and His Son. We're back in London again. We are going to do a day trip to the Tower of London and various other sites, which I will update you with later. That's All Hallows by the Tower. That was originally here when the Fire of London was here, because Samuel Pepys actually went up there to see the London on fire. Sorry, there's actually a fire engine there just going past me. That's the Shard. It's Cameron looking at the map. That's the Tower of London, which we're going to be going in a minute. So this is the old Roman wall of London City, built to fortification, protection of the city when it was under Roman rule. There is actually parts of it goes into the Tower of London. Hopefully we get to see that later. But yeah, very well preserved, as you can see. So back at the London Wall again, and it would seem they had COVID back in the Roman times. Obviously someone's just put one on there, but it is quite amusing, I think. So this is the Byward Tower. I just want to show you this because this is going to be a massive bloom soon for the Queen's Jubilee. So they're just getting it ready. They planted the seeds apparently, so they'll start springing up soon. But yeah, the old moat is going to be a walk through a flower garden. So that would be pretty amazing. That was the entrance we just come in. If you can see the Yeoman Warden, that's AJ, who's she's always on the TV programs. So yeah, there she is, just there. Just had a picture taken with her. That yacht over there is a super yachting, because there is a there's something going on at St Catherine's Dock where there's a lot of expensive yachts have sailed in for the week. So hopefully we get a chance and have a quick look around there. So we're just now entering the actual Tower of London now, past the fortifications. This is the main door that actually gets unlocked every day. That's the Yeoman's Jailers room. Probably one of the most important person here, because he's actually in charge of opening and closing it. So one of the entrances there where Anne Boleyn, by the look of it, was taken through this way before execution. It's quite an old looking door, I must admit. So this is the casemates, and also up to the Tower's Mint, where they used to make the coins for the country. But the casemates is actually where the Yeoman Wardens actually live now. Because if you become a yeoman warden, you have to live on site unless you go on holiday. So yeah, so that's up there. This is actually an Elizabeth I shilling from 1560 to 61. Very rare to see something like this. But yeah, there it is. We're actually in the Royal Mint at the moment, where they used to make the coins. So that's Elizabeth I. There's some more gold coins here. There's a Henry VIII one here, number 9. It's actually a Henry VIII coin. Yeah, there's some more various Henry VIII ones there, which again is very rare to see these things. There's another Elizabeth I one here. Oh, there's 2 of them down here.
Number 8 is Elizabeth I crown.
So there you go, there's some now. Yeah, it's Elizabeth I, as Cameron just said. There's number 8. Some more gold sovereigns from Elizabeth I.
6, 7.
That's some more Henry VIII ones here. This is a Charles II crown, 1663. Okay, we're now at Traitors Gate, very well known, where obviously the traitors to the kingdom used to come in by ship on the Thames. Last time we was here, there was no water. It was dry, so the Thames must have come in and let a bit of water in. If you look and see down there, the amount of coins that people's chucked in, it's like a wishing fountain, but it's not. But yeah, that must have been terrifying walking up those steps, knowing that you probably wouldn't be walking back out of the Tower of London again. So it's the famous ravens of the tower. It's said that if the ravens flee, the kingdom will fall. And luckily, they don't flee. Well, not very often anyway. So there's a couple of them there. They've all got their own personal names. There is actually a yeoman warden that actually looks after them. He does a very, very good job from the documentaries that we've watched. And that's the famous White Tower there, built by William the Conqueror from Normandy stone. That's why it's that colour. So we're now at the Bloody Tower, where Sir Walter Raleigh was actually imprisoned here, and he had quite a good lifestyle here, really. Apart from he couldn't actually leave the walls of the tower, but he was actually allowed to grow his own plants. And from travelling around various countries around the world, he brought back various herbs, tobacco. Famously, it was him that actually brought tobacco into the country, and he used to grow them all here to make his own little potions and things. I don't know which ones are actually traditionally his, what's here now, because there's rosemary, mint, things like this, but yeah, a lot of them probably was brought over with him on the ships when he was exploring the world. Elizabeth I is his favourite explorer. He brought plenty of money to the crown. It was said it actually bailed out the country, the amount that he plundered off of Spanish ships. I suppose in this day and age you would call him a pirate, but he actually came home a hero. But unfortunately he fell out with the king after that, and they sent him off on another expedition to try and find some more jewels, but he come back empty-handed and was executed as a traitor, even though he brought back so many jewels for Elizabeth I and bailed out the country. So yeah, there's not much loyalty back then in those days. If you didn't deliver, the chopper wood. So this is actually the Bloody Tower up here, which we will explore a bit later. So that's the Queen's house there. It's actually owned by the royalty. That's why there's a guard there. One of the famous prisoners was Guy Fawkes, where he was interrogated upstairs there somewhere. A lot of the Tudor style that you can see on the buildings was actually put here by the Victorians, because they absolutely loved their Gothic and Tudor type style houses. So a lot of that was actually put there Victorian times. The guard just putting himself through the paces. Like I said, he's guarding the Queen's property, so he's doing an important job. So we're now actually at the building where the crown jewels are, which you're not allowed to film in. But the guards are just putting themselves through their paces. So just thought I'd do a quick video of them doing that. These are all proper rifles, armed. So we're just on the other side now at the White Tower. There's a bronze 24-pounder cannon there. That's why it's that green colour, because of the bronze reacting with water from the rain. So yeah, this is the White Tower with the famous domes on top, which Henry VIII put there, the onion domes. But yeah, like I said earlier, this is Normandy built from William the Conqueror, and that's where the crown jewels are kept in there. We're by the Wardrobe Tower now, which Elizabeth I, when she was captive here, actually kept all of her various dresses in here. Because she was classed as a traitor by Bloody Mary, her half-sister, she was very popular, so they had to look after her, because if not, there would be a massive upheaval in the country and probably a revolution. So this is actually built on the old Roman wall. So I'm guessing some of these old tiles down here, these reddy coloured ones, probably are Roman. So this is a statue of an elephant, which was various presents from countries to the kings and queens of England, and they used to keep them here, and it was actually like a zoo. They had various things like polar bears, lions, tigers, monkeys and elephants. The polar bear was actually chained up, and it could actually jump into the River Thames if it got too hot. Yeah, so that's why that's there. This is one of the ravens of the tower. He's talking to us, or telling us to go away, one of the two. Beautiful looking bird. So this is the polar bear that I was talking about earlier. As you can see, it's, even this one's been chained down. But it's quite interesting that they have a polar bear here. I'm sure it's not for the polar bear, but especially diving into the dirty Thames as it was back then, just to keep cool.
And before you, the Watergate. As it was originally named, built on the orders of King Edward I as an entrance directly from the River Thames into the Tower of London. He had this outer wall breached and a gateway built there with a tower above to guard the gates. Now, of course, over the years, the Watergate became a very useful entrance for bringing prisoners into the tower. Many of those prisoners were accused of treason, hence the change of name from the Watergate to its current name, Traitors' Gate. 3 queens of England and many other important prisoners came through these gates. And many of those prisoners are still here today in 2 pieces. More of those people later. Now behind you, that is probably the most famous of the how many towers? 20! Well done! In the Tower of London. The Garden Tower, as it was originally named. But like many of these buildings, it's gone through name changes. It became known as the Bloody Tower to commemorate the many tragedies that took place in that building. Surely the most terrible tragedy ever to happen in there was the disappearance in 1483. How old are you, young man? Yes. 10. Just for a moment. Can you be 12? Just for a couple of minutes. How old are you? 10. Oh, I'm really sorry about this. Can you be 9 just for a moment? It's just a height thing. I'm sorry. You're only just 10, so there we go. Close enough for government work. The disappearance in 1483 of the 12-year-old King, Edward V, and his 9-year-old brother, Richard, Duke of York, who looked nothing like him. After the death of their father, King Edward IV, his oldest son immediately becomes King of England. Let's hear a cheer for the King of England. Yay! Let's see where this goes. Now, you cannot have a 12-year-old boy running the country. So it was decided to bring the 2 boys to live there in the Garden Tower. And their uncle, Richard, the Duke of Gloucester, was given the task of looking after them. More importantly, he was to look after the country until the oldest boy was about 21, ready to be crowned. Sadly, sometime in June of 1483, the 2 boys disappeared from that building and were never seen alive again. I'll see you 2 later. So what do you think happened to their uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, when the 2 boys disappeared? Anybody know? He became King Richard III. Or as he's known here at the Tower of London, Tricky Dicky. Where's the Americans? Put your hands up again. Spooky coincidence, that, isn't it? Yeah. Tricky Dicky and the Watergate. We had them both first. And in fact, if you Americans look very closely at our Watergate, much like your own, you'll notice there are many, many leaks. God, that is bad. I'm going to use that one again. I like that. Okay. Now, another prisoner held in there, one of our most famous Elizabethan explorers. You may have heard of him, Sir Walter Raleigh. The man who brought that vile, filthy, disgusting habit from the Americas to England, which was... Tobacco. Line dancing. You're quite right, he brought tobacco here. Now, Sir Walter Raleigh was in prison in that building for 13 years, during which time we yeoman warders were given the task of torturing him every single day for 13 years. Do you know what we did to him in there? We locked his wife in there with him. But you see a bath. It therefore cannot possibly be a bathroom. Nowhere will you see a nice armchair, a reading lamp, and a book. It can't therefore possibly be a restroom. It's a toilet. If you keep abusing our language, we are going to take you back. And don't even get me started.
So we're just now going into the chapel. This was built by Henry VIII. Anne Boleyn is actually buried over there. As is various queens and kings of England. plenty of ravens out on the green. We're just going to go into the White Tower now. If you look at any of my other videos, you'll see that we've been in here before. Please check them out. There's about 4, I think, on there now of various things in London that we visited. This is the second time we've actually been in the Tower of London on my videos. This is where they found the princes. A lot of steps.
I didn't feel like jumping.
Yeah. Just a quick cross look around the green. That's the Raven enclosure. That's the Thames over there with Tower Bridge and City Hall. This is actually one of Henry VIII's pistols or guns. As you can see, the carving there of Henry VIII. Quite sophisticated for its time. Most modern rifles look very similar to these. This is Charles I's armour. That's William the Conqueror's armour. And this is King James II. So this is Joseph Jacobs. He was a German spy and was tried here and executed. And this is actually the chair where he was executed, and that's actually where the bullet went through his body and come through the back of the chair. Really good view from the Tower of London, over the modern city scrapers over there with the gherkin. And that's the walkie-talkie. That's All Hallows by the tower right over there, which I did earlier. So this is the infamous rack. You would tie you by the ankles at one end, wrist at the other end, and basically stretch you until you confessed. And some people didn't actually confess, but they was crippled for the rest of their life. As you can see, the tide is reasonably out at the moment. We haven't found anything like Roman coins or anything. Found a couple of oyster shells which was used many years ago. They used to eat them quite a bit, the Londoners, and then just lob them into the river. But it's just nice to actually get down on the shore for once, and normally we don't do this. That's London Bridge over there.
Traditional in private Roman bathhouse design and construction, with the largest room, rectangular or square, which is in ordinary prosaic language is the cool room, or the frigidarium if you want to use the Roman Latin description.
So what you'd normally see, and you'll see them slightly further down, is a column of them. So they're called pili, and they're very much a feature of the Roman central heating. So this is a room, a small reception room of the townhouse. Would have had the underfloor heating, and just around the corner from this column here is a furnace. So there were a number of furnaces inside the house as well as some outside that were used for the central heating. Used as a tannery sort of close to the river port. But whoever's living here can't afford to keep the places they used to, so they closed off that area. So that's very unusual to see how the building is changing its use over a course of 200 years.
There's significance beyond the ordinary significance in your touch to the discovery of Roman coins, but they were almost certainly one of the last batch of coins minted in Rome during the reign of Honorius, and it was Honorius who was the Roman emperor. There would be no lots of trees within a reasonable distance of London. The first place in England to be accorded that status was what we now know as Colchester, or Camulodunum as the Romans knew it. When the Romans invaded, they actually landed in Richborough in Kent, came up to the south bank of the Thames, built a pontoon bridge, a temporary bridge to cross over to the north bank, and then the Roman army, about 40,000 troops, including a lot of engineers, mosaics. No mosaics, coloured tiles have been found on this site. And then you've got the warm room here. Can you all see the torch here? So I'm pointing to this section here. And then the hottest of the rooms over there. And if you come round to this part, we can sort of swap over to keep the numbers roughly equal. You'll see there is a gap between the brickwork here and the frigidarium, the cool room. And that is evidence that this part was built separately from the warm room and the hot room. And speculation, because they compared the mosaics they found in Britain that are so similar to ones found in mainland Europe, that there may have been sort of...
So we have just come to Monument, so we're going to go in here in a moment and climb all the steps up to the top. So we just climbed the top of the Monument, which is a hell of a climb. I'm not sure how many steps it is, but wow. And what a view. Fantastic. Fantastic. So this is the Shard outside of the river. This church here is St Magnus Martyr. This got damaged in the Great Fire of London. And just to the side there, as you can see, is the London Bridge. The Tower Bridge lifting up. So this is the second time in 30 minutes that it's lifting again for the same sailing ship to go through. River traffic actually has priority over road traffic. It's always been basically written in the law of the City of London. You can actually book this to open up with like 24 hours notice if you obviously own a big vessel that's going to need it. But it is pretty good to see. Up to last trip that we went on, we never seen it, so this is only really the second day that we've actually seen this do this. Just happened to be the same boat as well. I'm sure it has many different vessels going through, including the big French one just up there by HMS Belfast. So the Bastilles go up with a counterweight underneath it. Yeah, it was a great bit of Victorian engineering. The old Roman London Bridge actually has a similar idea, but back then obviously they didn't use Bastilles, they used manual, basically people or horses with a rope around them used to pull it open, but the idea is still basically the same, which is quite amazing really. And there goes the ship now. Must be great being on there at the moment. We're just looking up. Yeah, check out my other video because we're actually up at the top there filming it when it opened last time, and that's pretty cool from the side. So there you go. So we just got to the Gherkin, one of our favourite tower blocks. I'll just quickly show you that. So this is a new look Elizabeth Tower with Big Ben inside it. Looking spectacular after its revamp.